Welcome to the Voice on Demand and GSS Open House 2025. As you can tell, I had a lot of fun making this PowerPoint, utilizing the colors because we have a different set of color palettes for each one because they symbolize different things. But I am so excited, as I mentioned, for both of them to be under one house so that we really can help anyone. And a lot of where GSS Club came from was that I started to feel like I was being called to reach out to people beyond voiceover because in most of the voiceover sessions, we're talking about life stuff anyway. And so God told me, like, it's time to open this back up, to reach out to more people and to create a program that was more accessible than the program that I did before. So, our agenda for today, a little bit about me because that's not really important. And then a lot of bit about voice on demand. We'll do some live coaching. We'll talk about GSS. We'll do some more live coaching. What are some next steps that you can get into? And then my favorite part, a good old Q&A. So a little about me by craft, which is honestly not my favorite part, but sometimes, people care about the credentials. I understand. I am a performer. First and foremost was the first thing that I got into. One of my dream artists was Janelle Monáe, and I had a beautiful chance to work with her, perform with her, and be her stand-in for a few of her shows. I've worked with Cirque du Soleil, and I was a part of the original cast of the Donna Summer musical on Broadway, and have done some regional shows in the Heights, Legally Blonde, Kinky Boots, etc. Life coach and speaker. So I've been a life coach since October of 2011. I know I only look 17, so that's wonderful. But this is truly what I know I have been called to do. I love performing and I love being on the stage or being behind the mic, but I know my purpose here, and I learned it early on, and it was a tough pill to swallow, but now I feel so grateful for it, is to coach, is to lead, is to support other people's visions as well as my own. And being able to travel and speak and impart any kind of wisdom and experience that I have with other people. I am also an associate choreographer for a choreographer named Ricky Tripp. We did Kinky Boots together in the Heights, and right now we have a show on Broadway called A Wonderful World, which is the story of Louis Armstrong. And then, of course, one of the other reasons we're here, VO artist. I got into voiceover in 2017. While I was doing the Donna Summer musical, I had a terrible introduction. I had a not so great coach who caught me on the right day, and I ended up selling all my equipment and saying I would never do it again. And then at the time, my life coaching business, we were doing 30-day challenges, and someone said they would do 30 days of voiceover. And I was like, I didn't even know they did it. And I felt convicted. And they said, I have a coach. And they connected me to their coach who still works, now works with Voice on Demand, Christopher Grant. And I met with him and he was like, I just want to make back all the money I spent. And he was like, you will make that back and some. And he really pushed and instilled confidence in me that I knew I had to pay forward. So I have been a voiceover artist since 2020 officially. And I've done spots, nationals for Hulu, McDonald's, Always, Zelle, Bank of America, etc. But then most excitingly, I have been the voiceover coach, and I put community leader because I'm a community junkie. I really am. Community accountability honestly should be my middle name, not Betty May. But here we are. My mama didn't know in advance. But I love building community. I love helping people find, honor, and project their voice. I love helping people become unconditionally confident in every room, even being confident and not having the answers in the unknown. And we have been doing that since 2020. But more importantly, by character, I am a heart healer. I am the person you call when you need the truth, not what you want to hear, what you need to hear. I'm a people connector. Some people call me the plug. Any way that you tell me you need help with something, I try to go on my mental Rolodex and think of somebody that may be connected to somebody that may be connected to somebody that can help you out. I'm an atmosphere shifter. My pastor said that this weekend, and it just tattooed on my heart. I was like, that's I'm a temperature setter. I'm an atmosphere shifter. I am an unapologetic firecracker. I have a 7 foot tall personality and a 5 foot tall body. And I am a vessel, and I'm called to serve, as I mentioned, and to coach. And I have really been thinking a lot lately about the quantity versus quality of things. And I'm not interested in having hundreds and hundreds of clients. I want to have quality clients that are interested in being coached, in being supported, in being held accountable, and being having a soundboard, et cetera, et cetera. So about voice on demand, it was all a dream until September 2020. I think we all know what went down in 2020. And it was a time where people were craving community because they could not leave their four walls. And people had saw that I had got into voiceover and they kept asking, how do you get started? How do you get started? And so I took the time to study, to take classes, to train, to understand the business of voiceover so that I could be the starting ground for people so that they would never have the same experience I had. And so I turned those lemons into lemonade. And so our mission is clear and it gets clearer by the day. We are dedicated to helping you find, honor, and project the power of your voice through this game-changing income stream of voiceover. We specialize in helping everyday corporate and creative multi-hyphenates. I believe everybody is a multi-hyphenate. Whether you choose to unwrap those hyphenates is on you, but we are all gifted with multiple gifts, and we must own our opinions, stretch our limiting beliefs, and gain and sustain unconditional confidence. We are very big on supporting BIPOC artists because we recognize that like in many careers, we are underrepresented and undersupported, but we are a community that accepts and encourages all into the family. So I thought we'd do some live coaching because like, why not? And I'm gonna pick a volunteer. Can you do that? Is that considered a volunteer if you pick them? It is in Aurelia's world. Let's see. Darian, come up off mute. Welcome. Unmute, unmute. There we
Can you hear me?
are.
There I
Yes.
am. Hi. Hey, what's happening?
Hi, welcome. Thank you for being a
Welcome.
volunteer.
You're welcome.
Okay, so let's talk about coaching before we even get into this. So,
Mhm.
what coaching is and isn't? Let's start with what it isn't. Coaching, and this is for everybody, coaching is not, because if you've ever been coached, you may have had bad experiences like I have, or you may have a perception. Coaching is not about getting it right, mostly because getting it right doesn't exist, right? Each coach has their own opinions, their own feedback. The client may want something different than what the coach may think they could have wanted. So that's why we never try to figure out necessarily what, unless they, even if they've written what they think they want, and it may not sound like something you deliver, I still think when they hear something that connects to the ear, the chemistry cannot be denied. So it's not about getting it right on the first try or on any try. It's Coaching is all about progress. So at first I was a 10 take Tina, and I was a 9 take Tina, 8 take Tina. Now I'm like a 1-2 take Tina, but that's because I was okay with being a student. I was okay with making mistakes, missing words. I was okay with being called out by my coach and being like, you're doing the voice again. And I'm like, what voice? Oh, you mean this voice? That very sweet and approachable voice. That he's like, yeah, and you can do that and you're going to make money off that, but you're not a one trick pony. You need to be able to give Hood Aurelia from the Boogie Down Bronx and like Valley Girl, because she lives in LA now. So I learned that with coaching, it's all about I'm learning you, same as you're learning me. And together we are creating this magic. And ultimately, it's great to book the job, but it's more about looking at this person's words. These are all words you've said at some point in your life, not in this order, but how can you be able to say it as if you wrote it? That's really the trickiest part, is how can I make this sound like it came from me? And sometimes that may mean we change a word a little bit, or if a word is too articulate, and that's not how you talk, like important. I don't say important, I say important. I don't say want to, I say wanna. I don't say going to, I say gonna. I don't say thing, I say thing. So there's some wiggle room. We don't want to change the script completely, but we just want to make sure that it feels natural and in our voice because that's what they want to hear. So, did you have a second to look at this, Darian?
Okay. I definitely see it for sure.
Love it. So what we're first gonna do, this is something Chris taught me, is just to help get the words out without like fully getting our Morgan Freeman on, is just to read the words from the bottom, from Michigan to the word the at the top, reading it backwards out loud.
Michigan southwest of network. I'm not. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So did I do it correctly?
All the way to the top. We're reading from back to top. So from Michigan all the way up to first the.
So is it Michigan southwest of or
Yep. All the way
okay.
to the beginning of the script.
Okay. Michigan southwest of network literacy 50 the by sponsored com.heroes reading raise visit more learn to talk just takes it what have you learned to be will they prepared better the understand and hear children old year 5-0 words more the superpower your is child your to talking do you else anything than more brain there grows baby your with talking literacy of foundation the is cuddling and talking development literacy is story a child you're telling fastest the learn children when are years three first the
Wonderful. So this gives us a chance to, you were already playing with inflection without trying, literacy of foundation, the is cuddle, without us trying to make these definitive opinions of how we want to say the lines. And it gives
mm,
us a chance to at least get all the words out once. So now let's do
mm.
a first take, reading through, go with whatever instinct you have, and then we'll go from there.
Starting from the
Yep. Now we're going from the top.
okay. The 3 years are when children learn the fastest. Telling your children a story is literacy development. Talking and cuddling is the foundation of literacy. Talking with your baby grows their brain more than anything else you do. Talking to your child is a superpower. The more words 0 to 5 years old hear and understand, the better prepared they will be to learn. You have what it takes. Just talk. To learn more, visit raisereadingheroes.com. Sponsored by 0 to 5 Literacy Network of Southwest Michigan.
Awesome. So did you watch the game yesterday?
Absolutely.
What were your thoughts after the second interception? Oh, I've been watching. I know big words now.
We got this. That was my thought. We got this.
Tell me a little more. What were you thinking during halftime? What do you think the Chiefs were thinking during halftime?
They don't got this.
So what was their
Okay.
plan? What were they going to do?
I don't know. This might turn the whole tide of the meeting. What were they going to do?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to get technical here. They weren't going to win. I mean, meaning they didn't have an answer.
Okay.
Actually, let me be perfectly honest. What they were going to do, I wasn't sure. I just knew what
They weren't
what
doing.
what Philly was doing was going to keep it up. Um,
Okay. So the reason
Kansas
I
City.
asked you that, well, other than just being curious, did
Mhm.
everyone notice the difference in when he talks about the sport versus when he talked in the script? So when you were talking about the sport, there were a lot of lengthening of words. They didn't have it, and all of a sudden a blurting of words. And
Mm-hmm.
well, I might get a, I want you to implement that when you're reading. The first 3 years are when a child are when children learn the fastest. Telling your child a story is literacy development. So with each line, we're doing the same thing. We're telling our opinion on things, or we're telling, this is kind of fact, the first 3 years are when they learn the fastest. Talking and cuddling is the foundation, allowing words like foundation to pull something out of you. Superpower. When I think about what was the superpowers last night that the Eagles had that the Chiefs just couldn't hold on, didn't have it from the beginning. So I want you to start implementing that versus when you're reading a script, you were tending to everything was very even. The first three
Mm-hmm.
years are when the first 3 years are when children learn the fastest. I want you to have
So
that.
you want me to read this how I talk normally,
Yes,
or
1000%.
some balance? What you trying to tell me? Okay,
One,
cool.
not even a balance, 1000% how you would say it.
Hey, it's ladies here, so we got to keep it clean.
How you would say these words.
Especially when we talking about the game. I don't know. We'll see. All right. So do it again.
Yeah.
Okay. The first 3 years are when children learn the fastest. Telling your children a story is literacy development. Talking and
So stop
cuddling is
right
the
there. What they're saying in
talking.
this, what they're saying in this second line. So obviously, if we were in a coaching session, we'd take more time on it.
Mm-hmm.
Telling your, they're basically saying you don't have to look at literacy development as this huge thing. We don't need PowerPoint presentations and dissertations. Just telling your child a story is literacy development. So we want to just give that is a moment and give it a little bit of honor because that's what they're trying to say.
So you want to have a conversation.
1052.86%. Always.
Got it. You want to have a conversation. Okay.
We're having a conversation. This is like my big brother. We're having sushi at that sushi spot across from the shelf. Full on
Okay.
conversation.
All right. All right. I'm apprehensive because I chew my words, but I'm just going to read it. The first 3 years are when children learn the fastest. Telling your children a story is literacy development. Talking and cuddling is the foundation of literacy. Talking with your baby grows their brain more than anything else you do. Talking to your children is your superpower. The more words 0 to 5 year old children hear and understand, the better prepared they will be to learn. You have what it takes. Just talk.
Say that
To learn
again right
more,
there. Say that again.
you have
It's
what it
like keep it
takes.
simple. It's just talk.
You have what it takes. Just talk. To learn more, visit Raise Children Reading. To learn more, visit RaiseReadingHeroes.com. Sponsored by the 0 to 5 Literacy Network of Southwest Michigan.
Yes. Three
Thank
take
you.
Tony right there. But did you that progress? It went from like the first 3 years and then boom and then boom. So that's literally it's always even if it's animation, your character is having a conversation. They may be
Okay.
running through the woods or like being shot by aliens, but they're having whatever they're going through is a conversation. That was awesome.
Understood. Understand enough anyway.
Listen, that's all we're looking for, right? Progress, not perfection.
Mm.
All right, can I have a second volunteer? I'm gonna actually let this person volunteer. Do you have a second volunteer? Come on, Michelle. Ready. I saw it in your eyes. Everybody else saw it in your eyes, Michelle. You're excited. All right, Michelle, let's go. Reading it backwards. Oh, wait, you're on mute. I know, that thing never gets old. That mute button, boy. It'll get you.
cd-org.foundation EMSA. That's cd-org.foundation EMSA. At it about more learn. World the for sustainability and engineering in equity. Celebrating evening, inspiring and dynamic future the reinventing event milestone foundations EMSA the for CD. I guess I should have said
That's
DC.
all right. I love where you're going with it. I'm with it.
Washington in 25th April on Us Join to Sure Make.
All right, forwards, here we go.
Make sure to join us on April 27th in Washington, D.C. for the ASME Foundation's milestone event, Reinventing the Future, a dynamic and inspiring evening celebrating equity in engineering and sustainability for the world. Learn more at asmefoundation.org, DC. That's ASMEF foundation.org/DC/DC.
Yes, so much goodness in there. You have a very sweet resonance. Very nice.
Thank you.
So what happens sometimes when we have a shorter audition is we can do 2 takes. So that felt very like Michelle, at the conference. Good evening, everybody. I want you to let your metaphorical hair down and give me Michelle on the weekends. And not everybody sees, only the besties, not everybody else. She's a little bit less articulate. She says sustainability instead of sustainability. She's relaxed. You know who I'm talking about. Shelly. That's what they say. Shelly Singer. You know how she do. So I want you to give me a second take. Now, second takes don't mean they have to be completely different. We don't want you like, yo, make sure to join us on. We don't need all of that. But we want to give little differentiation. So whether you're choosing different words to emphasize, maybe slow down so we get ASME. So since it's an acronym, using your hands, reinventing the future. We can play around. And then when we get down to the bottom, we say the same thing twice. So you want to try to vary it up so we don't say it exactly the same way back to back.
Okay.
Here we go.
Make sure to join us on April 27th in Washington, D.C. for the ASME Foundation's milestone event, Reinventing the Future, a dynamic and inspiring evening celebrating equity in engineering and sustainability of the world. Learn more at asmefoundation.org/DC. That's asmefoundation.org/DC.
Yes, you just did something very good called breathing. Breathing is really important in voiceover. So we want to, and in life, apparently. So we want to make sure that we don't have to take huge breaths because then we have to edit those out. So you want to figure out, okay, where do I need to take my breath? So if we did the first line, take a breath, get through that next section, take a breath. You could even stop on the next one, a dynamic and inspiring evening celebrating equity in engineering and sustainability for the world. That way we take a nice short breath for the next section. And make sure it's important when it's okay to be a little bit off, but we want to try to be a word perfect. Learn more about it at versus learn more about or learn more at.
Okay.
We want to make sure learn more about it at.
I didn't read it. That's what I did.
Well, what happens when we're reading, this is what we do when we read books, we're looking at a word, but our brain has already moved on. So that's what tends to happen is that we see the next word. So what we're practicing during coaching is to be able to see exactly what's in front of you while also being able to be aware of what's coming next. And that just happens with practice. Now we're going to do something called an ABC, which means you're going to say the last line. This is going to be fun because it's a website. You're going to say the last line 3 different ways, back to back. That's called an ABC.
That's asmefoundation.org/DC. That's asmefoundation.org/DC. That's asmefoundation.org/DC.
Bravo. Claps and snaps. The ABC is like the golden ticket because every company, they're going to want you to do that last line 3 times just so that if they picked, let's say you did 3 takes of the whole script. but they like the first take, but they like how you did the end of that last one. They'll have you do an ABC just so that they have options. They always want to make sure they have options. Great work.
Thank
So
you.
those are some of the things that we cover in coaching. So even just going back to the first script, there's a lot of kind of repetition. Telling your child a story is this. Talking, cuddling is that. Talking with your baby does this. Talking to your child, it's kind of got a little song to it in and of itself. Hey, dang it, welcome. So what we'll do is we can go line by line. The first 3 years are when children learn the fastest. So I'll say the word fastest, the fastest I can, because that's what the word makes me think of. I don't know if y'all can hear my dog going crazy, but somebody ran down the hallway and my 11-pound dog thinks he's about to wreck shop. Telling your child a story is literacy development. Talking and cuddling is the foundation of literacy, like Darian was doing with the foundation. Talking with your baby grows their brain more than, and I use my hands. I don't know if anyone's familiar with dance, but I'm like voguing, I'm like whacking in there. I'm using my hands for everything because that's how I talk. So talking to your baby grows their brain more than anything else you do. Talking to your child is your superpower. So I'm utilizing my hands, I'm using my body because that's what I do when I talk. Make sure you join us on April 27th in Washington, D.C. Make sure you join us on April 27th in Washington, D.C. Make sure you join, whatever it is, just continuing to play. And you can do that at home. You can pick up anything that's in your house and just read it 3 times. You don't have to like sit down, okay, this is dedicated VO study, because then we start putting on this like, I am the voiceover actor now. But when you're in the middle of doing something, you're reading, take a second and read that sentence 3 times through and see if you're able, your brain will start to create its own flow of how it likes to give different options. Any questions on the coaching aspect we'll have time for questions later too, but if anything right now is burning, like I have a question about how coaching or auditions or directed sessions. We good? Okay, so we'll keep going, and then if you have questions, just throw them in the chat and then I'll answer them at the end. All right, so let's talk about, if this will let me press it. Oh, there we go. The Goal Setter Success Club. Okay, so the Goal Setter Success Club is the same family with a new name. So I started as a life coach in October 2011, as I mentioned, with a company called Confidence is Key. Aurelia loves an acronym. She loves a good acronym. Just know that about her. Confidence is Key. Key was KEE, which stood for knowledge, evaluation, and experimentation. Knowing who you are in this moment, evaluating whether the things that you're doing are a help or a hindrance to your goals, and then experimenting and stepping outside your comfort zone. How I still remember that 15 years later, I don't know. But then it turned into AML, which is Aurelia Michael Living, and we brought in coaches, affiliate coaches from different arenas that were not my specialty. And then we turned into Voice on Demand during the pandemic because everyone, as I mentioned, needed community and a lot of people needed a job. And what was the number one thing that probably increased, other than probably television ads, was voiceover, because everyone was either in their car or they were watching television. So there were so many commercials coming out, as many shows as they could make coming out, that voiceover took off. And then enters the chat, the Goal Setter Success Club. I always have believed in the statement, if you build it, they will come. But I really do believe if you add value, they will stay. And so originally when I did AML, you would either meet with me once a month, one-on-one, or we'd meet once a week, one-on-one, but there wasn't necessarily a community aspect other than people knowing each other, maybe in passing or through work. But now I've created this membership-based program that mixes the community, your consistency, and my coaching to ignite your goals and elevate life. We thrive on the combination of increasing drive, sustaining discipline, fostering a healthy dedication to an action-packed plan for the future. So when people ask sometimes what's the difference between therapy and coaching, a lot of times therapy focuses on your past and how it got you here, right? It's taking that big old suitcase you've been hiding under the bed or in the back of the closet or in your trunk and opening it up and saying, oh, this is still in here because of that. This is still in here. Okay, it's time to get rid of that. Actually, I need to hold on to this. And then and I had clients who did therapy and coaching at the same time with me. We take a look at what's remaining and how do we utilize that to push us forward. So we still do look at the past, but we don't sit there long. We're focusing on where we are now to help us get to where we want to go. So that's my main job as a coach, is to be your accountability partner. So if your challenge is time management, which I don't really believe in that term because you can't really manage something that never stops, but you can become more efficient at it. My job is to help you with, well, what are you filling your day with? So if you say like, I just never have time, then I'll have you do a full day of how you spend your time every single minute. And so we can start to see where often we're wasting time. I do that same thing with finances. There's just never any money. And then you see the Starbucks bill, over a year, you spent $1,200 on a latte and you're like, how did this happen? And that's the idea of things going slowly over time that you don't even recognize how much you've been spending. So I created this program because I was called to do it, so I'm just being obedient. But I wanted to provide a membership program so people didn't feel like, oh, we do this for, 4 months and then you're out the door. And I wanted them to be able to build community along the way. So after I finish this, I'll go through our website here. I'll also go through our Voice on Demand website so that if you go to take a look at it, you have a better understanding of how it flows. So actually, I'll do that now. We'll take a look at the Goal Setters website. I was so dedicated to this. I'm going to tell you guys this. I wasn't going to say this, but I was so dedicated to making this website. I actually got tendonitis in my hand because I spent a week nonstop creating this website. And I didn't notice, once again, over time, you don't notice things. And I noticed when I got back home that my wrist was hurting. And I went to the doctor. He said, well, have you been using your mouse more than normal? And I said, absolutely. I've been creating an entire website in a week, but I love what I do. So welcome to the Goal Setters Success Club. So if you're browsing the website, here's a picture of me, as I talked about earlier, by label boring. Here's all about me, Bronx to Broadway girl, but by life experience. If you, for some reason, want to learn more about me, knock yourself out. I've created a whole area of where this crazy gal came from, things that I've done, the areas of my life that I'm currently trying to impact the world with. And then that is the crazy dog that y'all hear. Well, you didn't hear, but that I heard thinking he was about to do something. And thank you, Danielle. I worked really hard. Honestly, this would be a side hustle if I really wanted, because I really do enjoy working. Angie's my assistant, for those that don't know, and she knows a girl loves to make a new website. I'll be quick to make a website. It's scary. But so that's a little bit more about me. Here is where you can sign up for our newsletter. Every Monday, I send out a Monday night kickoff. Who am I? Football referencing twice today? Whoa. I do my Monday night kickoff email. So if you didn't get one today, check your spam, or we got to get you connected. Here's a video more about the program, the spark behind this entire thing, why I'm so obsessed with community, who this is for. People that realize work-life balance doesn't exist. How can you balance something that's inside something? Like work is inside life. So how does that balance work? It doesn't. Tired of setting goals on your own. You want to embody new habits. You want to understand that progress is a process and anything worth achieving is worth working for. And it gives you an overview of what to expect. Here's what some of my former clients have said, word on the street. I'm re-releasing and it's been edited, a workbook that I created called 15 Minutes of Fame, Faithfully Advancing Myself Every Day. And it's a 30-day workbook just showing how 15 minutes a day of consistency can change your life. And I'm really excited for that to come out in the spring. Some of the things I've done in my past, and then if you have questions. So if you go back up to about GSS, that will take you to our page, consistency, accountability, community, who the club is for, what each tier includes, and then I go back into the Spark, the intake process. And then if you're ready to get started, you'll see the different tiers that we offer. So right now, these prices are locked in through the end of February to honor our founding group, which have started February 1st, and then our first group of March 1st. So the community tier will be $49 a month, but it's $29 now, and it includes the Monday email, all the planning resource tools that I'm going to show you in this client folder draft, access to our community monthly momentum masterclass, where I talk about one of the areas of life around personal growth, finance, career, relationships, and then a monthly email check-in. So you'll submit a check-in to me through a Google form, and I'll respond to you with a video. That's the community access. The guided access is it will include everything that we just mentioned, but we will also focus on individualized goal setting and plan of actions, as well as weekly email check-ins. So once a week, you'll do your check-in on the form, and I'll respond with video. And then to me, the best value, because my coaching solo sessions are $175. So this includes an hour session with me one-on-one. Everything that I mentioned above, still the weekly check-ins on the week that we're not meeting virtually, and then access to our quarterly guest masterclass, where I'll bring in some of my favorite people who specialize in things like branding, grant writing, health and wellness, which I'm a health and wellness junkie, but people that specialize in that to answer the questions that you have. And that price will be going up after February 28th as well. And then just to show you our voice on demand, since it's here. Oh my gosh, she loves making websites. If you're interested in just grabbing a 30-minute hot seat consult where we sit, we talk about your goals, what got you into this, what are you thinking about? We'll do coaching on the spot again, because those are so fun. You can sign up. It's $30 for 30 minutes. Here you can see more about what we're all about. Here's a free masterclass that I talked about earlier, 4 ways I made 5 figures in 6 months without representation in voiceover. And that will get you set up automatically into our newsletter. More about your girl, but that's not really that important. Way to say hello. Past podcast episodes that I've done, some are VO related, some are not, that you can check out. And then recommended equipment. So sometimes people just come on looking for equipment. So I have 3 different things. I have like equipment. Listen, I'm trying to change y'all lives outside of voiceover and game-changing books. This honey mustard right here, if you know about the beaver, you know. I'm trying to change y'all lives in more ways than one. I just ordered a 6-pack. This is the best honey mustard in the world. I promise you, try it, send me a video. But we also have voiceover equipment that I recommend. So we're working together and we're picking out your equipment based on your home studio. And then also, I always recommend people getting into voiceover, you're trying to look for a free 99 resource, is to read books out loud. So these are books that I have read, books that I highly recommend. And they're all walks of life. Some are about your relationship attachments. Some are about procrastination. Some are about the compound effect. That's the $1,200 Starbucks order. Atomic Habits. I mean, he should give me some type of residual at this point. Surrender Experiment as well. This is actually the book I read to become a life coach in 2011. So whenever people saying I'm interested, these are the books that I show as well. So some people just come on here simply to look at recommendations for equipment. The program I always recommend for people just starting out is our Basics to Bookings program. You know I love an acronym. So at B2B, it is all about getting you from learning about the ABCs that we literally just talked about and other terminology, home studio setup, the genres, directed sessions. What is a directed session? Agency representation. So it starts with an intro class that is self-paced, so you can watch it at any time on how to break into VO. Then we have a 25 plus video course that has homework with it, and then 8 one-on-one private sessions with me where we go from the home studio setup, hopefully get to some audition prep, goal setting, getting you on a pay-to-play site, or getting you reaching out to agents if you're interested, getting you working on demos, the full package. And then there's 3 ways to do the program. You can do them as paying in full, which is the cheapest, paying in 2 halves, or paying monthly, which is $329 a month. So that's the 8 sessions, the 25 plus session course, and the class. And then some people want to take classes outside of that. So, oh, look, today our open house, they can't sign up anymore. But the next thing we have coming up is the VO Script Jam, which is similar to the coaching that we just did, but we do some other play and you get to know the community, which I think whenever I was in a dance class and I knew people in the room, I always felt more comfortable. So the more you start to show up, the more you'll start to recognize people. And as we mentioned, the 30-minute coaching session. And in March, Chris Grant will be teaching as well. So I'm super excited to have him in the building. And then for people that just want to start with the class and the courses, you can always just buy them on demand at any time. The biggest savings is not having to pay the 8 sessions after all of that. So we try to help people out ahead of time. And then if you're interested in doing one-on-one sessions, I have my single hour for 8 if you want to pay in 2 halves, and then 8 sessions if you want to pay in 1. And then if you want to work with Chris as well, Chris and Austin both do demo production. That is not my ministry. That is not my space or place. But one lives in LA, one's in New York. So you have people covered if you're in those areas, if you want to do your demo in person, but you can also do it virtually with either of them. Okay, let's go back up my PowerPoint. Any questions so far about that? We good? Oh, go ahead, Darian.
You said a lot. I just want to make
know.
sure everything, I'm glad we're in agreement. Does everything, everything you looked at is gonna like we have access to.
Yes, I'm gonna give you
website or
this
something?
video, and
Okay.
yep, you'll have this video to go back to. And each for the goal setters, you can always, I always say if you sign up by like the 21st of every month, that'll give us a chance to do the onboarding to start on the 1st. So anybody who signs up will always start on the 1st. So that'll give you some time for us to get you onboarded, to talk about your goals. That way we're not starting on day 1 like, what happened? Yes, so this will all be provided. I know I just ran through the whole website, but now you'll have the website up on the side, watch the video at the same time, and hopefully it'll be clear as mud. Any
Gotcha.
other questions? I'm gonna actually go back because I wanted to show y'all the draft of what will be in the folder. So when you sign up, you'll get these 3 folders. One is the welcome sheets. You start there, goal setting methods, and additional resources. So first you'll have your welcome sheet, which just talks about what we're getting into, tier guidance so that you understand more about the tier that you're in, how things work, when to check in. The 4 methods. So I present 4 methods for goal planning. Some you're probably familiar with, the SMART goals. Identity outcome process is something that I created through the Atomic Habits book. OKRs if you're a corporate person. And then one of my favorites right now, the 12-week year. You can use one of them. You can use all of them. You can use them at different times. I just present different options based on if you have a project, like you want to write a book, then I suggest a 12-week year. If you have 3 different goals that you really want to work on right now, I suggest the identity outcome process because that allows us to work on multiple things at one time. So it really just depends on when you fill out your onboarding, what you say your goals are, and then we can go from there. So I talk more about that. OKR, 12-week years, all things, and then check-in guidelines so you understand how to check in, where to check in. And in your email, in your welcome email, you'll know when to check in. You'll have a specific day of the week to check in. Then this breaks down every version. So there's a blank version of the goal of each one, and then there's an examples, blank examples, blank examples. 12-week year, as I mentioned, is the most extensive. So it's got its own folder because usually you'll pick a professional goal and a personal goal. You'll create a vision. You'll spend 3 hours at the top of every week organizing your week, getting things into your schedule. You can also read or watch a video on the 12-week year to get a better understanding of how it works. It's the idea of not creating goals from January to the end of December, but creating goals by 12 weeks. I also sometimes do 6 weeks at a time if my goal isn't that extensive. So you have different options. And then I leave some additional resources. One is just the 6 pillars of life. So getting you to take a look at personal growth, health, finance, relationships, career, social, fun. What's the current state? What's the desired state? What's the plan? Because oftentimes we kind of get stuck right in the middle in column F. Like, I don't know what to do now. So together I take a look at this during your check-in and talk about, okay, here's some action steps that I was thinking that could help you in that area. I always suggest an accountability partner. I've had accountability partner since February of 2020. We always start off with kind of our declaration in the beginning. This is a section from my best friend TJ and I. He creates one, I create the next, and we always say this at the beginning of our meetings to kind of set the tone. Then there's an empty space for you. And then we have a do better section and a pat on the back, like do better. I could have did this better, pat on the back for this. And I leave you blank spaces as well. You have your own folder, so you don't have to worry about writing on anything. And then one of my favorite things I use is my daily gifts, because I don't have to do any of these. This is a gift. So these are things that I do in the morning, not every day, not every morning, but I put an X when it's something I've done. And when I don't do it, I just put a dash through, and then you have a blank one. So what's the goal for this week? 3 times. How many did I achieve? So we're all about underselling, over delivering, starting small and then going larger. So you'll have these sheets when you start, and as well as your onboarding, and then your weekly check-in sheet that has all the questions that you need to answer. Any questions on that? Okay, well, what's next? So if you're interested in Voice on Demand, I will send you this PowerPoint as well. Follow us on Instagram if you're not. Sign up for our newsletter. It's just the free masterclass that I mentioned. Sign up for it. I mean, it's either way. Some people know this is what I want to do this year. VoiceOver is the way. I suggest just going for the B2B program. But if you want to sign up for the 30-minute consult first, just to get more questions answered, by all means, please sign up. I would love to chat with you. And then you can even sign up for our upcoming class on the 26th. It doesn't matter your level. We've had people come in for a class on directed sessions who had never done VoiceOver before. And there actually were a lot of things they brought to the table because they hadn't been studying, where sometimes studying too much can be information overload, can get in your head. So our classes are always open to all levels. If you're interested in goal setter success, follow us on the gram, sign up for our newsletter on our website, and sign up for coaching by February 21st to start March 1st. And if you're interested in both, sign up for all of the above. And these are our email addresses. And Angela/A-Boogie is in charge of both of them. So she is the one. And then once we start working together, it'll just be Aurelia at our Voice on Demand and Goal Setters. Any questions? Please drop the questions like it's hot. I love me a good question. I'll wait as I sip my tea. Shameless plug, my bestie and I have mugs called I'm Always Here for the Tea. And we also have motivation in a mug for all you coffee drinkers out there. femfitchicks.com/mugs. Just loving life out here. Any questions? Gregory.
Hey, I have a question.
Yes. Hopefully I have an answer. Go.
All right. So what is your advice on auditioning? What are the best platforms to audition on? That's what I'm asking.
Love. Okay, so the This is a fun question because voiceover is shifting right now in all areas. So I have an agent and the emails have been skimp. I'm looking right now. One email. I got one audition today. Usually I'm getting 6, 7, 8 a day. And so I think overall voiceover is still warming up in the year. So I think it'll take off soon. I mean, the top 2 are considered voices and voice 1, 2, 3. There are, if you go on the TikTok spiral, you'll hear things about voices and you'll hear things about voice 1, 2, 3. All I can speak from is personal experience. Voices has done me well. I could have put a down payment on a house from Voices when I was on there. So that is who I'm a ride or die for. I have never tried any other sites. There are smaller sites which don't have as many jobs, but they also don't cost as much. But to me, it's like, I think it's $500 for the year, but we have a $125 discount code. You can make that back in one job. And then everything else is kind of just for fun. If you never book another job, you're like, well, I didn't spend anything. But I think what happens is people get on these sites and they make demos and they start auditioning and they've never coached a day in their life. And then they're wondering why they're not booking. And either their mic was sideways or they have a mic for podcasts that's not good for auditions. Or they've got the first 10 seconds of their auditions empty, or they're too far from the mic. So it's like shh in the background. So I think people kind of mess themselves up on the pay to play sites. It is very competitive. So you do need to make sure the technique, the most important technique is right, but then also that your technical equipment and editing is right as well. So I'm a ride or die for voices, but I know people have been successful on voice 1, 2, 3 as well.
All right, I appreciate that. Apart from that, how important is it to have a mentor?
Well, now a mentor usually in voiceover is a free coach, right? Because that's the main difference, right? Is the coins. I would consider Chris a mentor to me, but I believe in investing in people that are investing in me. So even like if I have a friend that does hair and I want my hair done, I'm still going to pay my friend because I don't know. I want to invest in people. So even though I've had mentors, like if I had a dance mentor, I still took their class. I reposted their events that they were doing. Like I made sure that I was still investing in them. I have a coach in every aspect. I have a bodybuilding coach from when I was bodybuilding. I have a voiceover coach. I have a vocal coach. I have a life coach. So I'm more big on the coaching than mentoring because also the people that are coaching me have some aspect of their lifestyle that I desire. So I don't think it's an end all be all. And I think it's also tough for people like coaches to have also mentors because we're already coaching so many people. So I don't think it's an end all be all. Just like I don't think having an email address specific for voiceover is necessary, but people do it. I don't think having an Instagram for voiceover is necessary, but people do it. I think it's if you can find somebody that has the time to invest for free, go ahead and take it. But I don't think it's absolutely necessary because what we're doing, our job as a coach is really to help you fly and soar on your own. So you shouldn't be around that long. Come in every now and again, for a tune-up, like your car, but don't bring your car to my shop every day. You're ready to ride. You're ready to go.
Understood. Thank you so much.
Of course. Anyone else? Michelle, you got a question?
I
Well,
don't
now
have
I'm
a
volunteering
question.
questions.
Yeah, I don't really have a question. I just want to get better with voiceover. I just want to advance advance in a career of voiceover. I don't I'm full time. I'm a cosmetic gynecologist. So it's not like I'm trying to do it the right way. Learn, pace, do what I need to do, gather the information, coach, give my demo. I'm trying to do it the right way, especially since with my career, if I decided to just try to do it all at one time, I think knowledge marinates. I think you grow after you learn pace by pace. And that's what I'm trying to do.
I love that. Oh, absolutely. People like, quit your job. It's like, are you going to pay my bills?
Not
Okay,
my
then,
job.
then give me a moment and ease up, ease up. No, absolutely. And I think, I don't use right or wrong. But I believe in foundation to addict. So the foundation, and I probably say this till I'm blue in the face. The foundation is falling in love with your voice. And gosh, we could be planting that tree, we could be planting that house for a long time. And that's okay. And then once we get there, okay, now we're getting more into the technical stuff. Sure, editing, auditioning, getting feedback, sure, ABCs. Then we're talking demos. Okay, now we're talking, agency representation. So I feel right and wrong is so definitive, but I do believe in this hierarchy happening versus starting at the top. If you've already started at the top, that's okay. We just build a new house and we'll hold on to that, because what ends up happening is if you've coached long enough, your demo is going to be outdated. My demo is very outdated. I'm just waiting for my agents to send me a message, because I didn't like it when I submitted to them. But if y'all like it, I'm obsessed. But I'm ready to get a new one, because I hear it and I cringe at things that if my clients did that, I'd be like, we don't say fat is where it's at. We don't do that. So I love that. I'm excited for you. I hope we get to work together. I can already tell the energy, the spirit, everything going on is going to be your greatest asset in voiceover. Not your microphone, like most people think. If I just get that $2,000 microphone, not with a $10 mentality, you want a $5 opinion, and ain't gonna work. Thank you, Naima, for coming. We're about to wrap up anyway. Any other questions? Well, this was lovely. I will be sending this all. Well, not I. By I mean Ange will be sending this all to you. I'm going to bed. No, I'm kidding. Thank you so much. I hope to get to work with y'all. And have a good night. Always come off mute and say good night, because I like to hear everybody's voice. Yeah, show you right. Good night, everybody. Come off mute.
Good night.
Good
Gregory,
night, everybody.
Danielle, good night.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Thank you for this.
Good to see you,
Good night,
Danielle.
everybody.
Thank
Good
you,
to see you,
Aurelia.
Aurelia.
Thank you.
Good,
Nice to
everybody.
meet you.